Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of ProtoPro. Today we have Afro with us. Before we start with this, actually, I got news that apparently you have the 5th most wins in all time of LCS now, and you kicked out my boy Sneaky. But congratulations to that anyway. It's 298 wins, in case you're wondering how much it was. So congrats on the win, and congrats on that accomplishment. So my first clip here is, while you're playing support, I noticed that obviously you're a good support. You do a lot of things that are correct. When you're doing your first recall, can you kind of give me a rundown of things that good support players should be looking to do? This is your first recall, and then just so you know, you basically path mid. So can you tell me what supports should do?
So right here, Sivir can basically 1v2 the bot lane in this matchup versus Zeri, so I have a lot of time to do whatever. So usually when you're either looking to affect mid lane here, affect the crab fight that's about to happen up here on the Trundle, who's gonna come, or you look to affect the top lane. And then you also need to pay attention, like if your AD actually needs you. So here, I don't really have to look bottom because I know Johnson can 1v2 right here. But Trundle's trying to contest the crab, and my hover, their enemy bottom lane is like, watch out, Lulu's missing, so he automatically has to walk off the grabber.
Gotcha, and that's something you would do regardless of whatever support you are, because like you are playing a Lulu. That's not like a Nautilus or Leona, but it's still something that you should look to do when you're playing support, right?
Exactly.
All right, great. A lot of supports actually don't do this, so I'm glad that you do it. You've been playing for a long time, so good job on that.
Thanks.
This next clip right here is something that a lot of people have trouble with. You're freezing the wave for your AD carry. Number one, can you explain to me how you know it's safe to do? I'll go back a little bit, actually, because you see the enemy AD carry doing whatever they did. Is this it?
Yeah.
Wait, no, I went forward, didn't I?
Oh, you went forward, yeah.
1 second.
Oh, shit.
You know, I flipped this thing, and I should have thought about this ahead of time here. Well, we fixed it, no worries. All right, well, anyway. So you're freezing the wave here. Can you tell me about why you're freezing the wave, and how do you think this lane went? It's about 14 minutes in the game. What's the goals of Lulu, Sivir into Zeri, Yuumi?
Lulu, Sivir, into Zeri, Yuumi, you can actually kill them around like 3, 4, 5, but they actually got the crash in on the tower, so we weren't able to do that. We were gonna, but here I knew where the jungler was like 15 seconds before I started freezing, and they have the base. So if I stop them from basing, we have an item up on them, and if they try to stop me, our Sivir will just automatically push in the wave, and then they're stuck on the map for tempo. So I'm just trying to buy tempo to bait them to stop me, and if they don't, my Sivir gets ahead, you know, one wave.
Gotcha. One other thing I noticed that you do for the team is, if I can pause it at the perfect time, give me a second here.
This is the items?
No. So on your team, who's the one that's doing the flash timers and stuff like that? I noticed that you're doing it too. Do you think, number one, should it be the supports? And number two, are you the one that's mainly doing flash timers, TP timers, etc.?
I do think a lot of players are lazy when it comes to timing stuff, and they always put it on the support. But if you see the flash, you can time it. And once you get the math down with, you know, if they have Cosmic or not, you know, Lucidity boots, you should just time it if you see it. So for me, I time what I see. Even though other people, you know, they say in comms, you know, this guy flashed. I've been playing so long that I'm looking at the minimap so often. If somebody blinks on the minimap in vision, I know they flashed. So I'll ping it, and then I'll time it like that.
Sick. Okay, and then just so you see the minimap, this is my last clip that I have for you. It's, how long is it? It's about 30 minutes into the game, and Baron is spawned right now. Can you tell me a little bit about what your current game plan is? And after this entire clip plays, you can tell me if this is something you would do again. Feel free to watch it as it goes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, we take the team fight to bait out their ultis, because our first engage with Sivir ult, I think it's really hard for them to like counteract us, because their only engage is Azir shuffling. So Sivir with, I think, 3 items right now, 3.5.
So are you purposely planning 2 engages then? One where you use Sivir ulti, and then the second one where you save Sejuani ulti for it? Yeah,
Abadage bought Banshee's Veil this game, so our plan the whole time is like, we gotta pop the Veil and then look to go on them afterwards. So we do that here perfectly with Philip's, you know, great engage. And, you know, it's easy to run them down, because Azir is the only problem in our team versus our team, because he outranges both carries.
Gotcha. And then following here, you guys get the double kill, then you push towards mid. You don't actually get the end.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, while you're watching this, I'm sure you can remember it now, would you do this call again, or would you have pivoted and went for a Baron or something instead?
I actually didn't see what had happened, because Zeri has no ulti here. Gnar isn't in Mega, but I think we just went on separate targets here, because our LeBlanc goes to one-shot the Zeri, but I do think we could have just one-shot the Gnar here, rethinking it.
So if LeBlanc went on the left side, better?
Yeah, we were talking about Zeri, so you know, I don't blame him, but I think I would do this call again as long as we go on the same target. Because when he's in mini, and I think if I just walk up and poly him when we got the CC chain there, we would have killed him. So honestly, yeah, I should have just done that.
All right, cool. Before I finish off, I was walking on the way here, and I believe one of your coaches stopped me and asked me to ask you a question. He wanted me to flame you, actually. I don't know why.
Go for
so
it.
he's like, why did you guys never kill Nara on the side wave?
Oh, yeah. He was telling us after the game. We should have killed him. I do think our team, we're getting better at 1-3-1 type of style. So we do miss some of those opportunities where, the guy oversteps how far he can be on the side lane for us to kill him. So yeah, we just gotta keep working on that.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you got the dub here, so I'm not complaining too much about the coach or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's all for us today. Thank you for joining us, and once again, congratulations on the win and taking top 5 all wins.
Appreciate it.
After this, we'll be sending you all off to a classic face-off, and we're taking a closer look at Luger and Poome.
Like the players, like the Axe Bros. Like we were thinking about growing our mustaches and calling ourselves the Stash Bros, but other than that,
We should do it.
we've been a duo since we started on 100 Thieves Academy, so 2 years ago around.
From 100 Thieves Academy, I think we were kind of like best ball lane in Academy at the time.
Chased away, kicking away Ryoma, but Luger flashed in to make sure he was dead as dirt. Brandini getting a little bit of damage with the help of that needlework, but Luger's still alive, kiting it back. They've got their end double kill from 100 Thieves.
I think like it's good to know each other since kind of almost 2 years, and I think we kind of know our personality and we know what kind of we want to win the game, and I feel like we kind of improving easier than other bot lanes.
Since you've been with the same person, it's easier to say oh my god, if you could have done this for me, or do this.
I mean, for my personality, I kind of crazy guy, I think, because I feel like my ideas or some maybe game ideas that kind of sometimes crazy to people.
Afro dies second as Philip wants to fight back and Dhokla barely stays alive. Luger's coming in from the side. Rat attack, fire the gat. Luger's ready to go.
I think Poome kind of shot me sometime down. Is pretty good, and yeah.
He's gonna lose his Gromp already to River. They've got the fight. There's the stun. Good spell shield by Luger. Here comes the dunk. Forward turret shot's gonna kill Stixay. And it's a good thing you brought over Poppy.
We're both kind of emotional people, so we try our best to calm each other down sometimes, just to make sure that we're both on the same page. Even if it's on LCS stage, one of the games I remember, I wasn't playing aggressive enough, and he was like, let's go, bro. We can win this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, could be in trouble again.
Poome's looking for it. He flashes after Lost, who did not use his flash the first time around. CLG don't even need any help down here now. 2v2. Ignar survives with 1 auto attack's worth of health.
Because I don't think we're actually that far away from the best ball lanes in LCS that the casters talk about, or the fans talk about, which are Hans, Core JJ, Danny Vulcan.
It doesn't matter what we play against the players. I think we are gonna try to show our mechanics to win game.
Luger and Poome. These two have played together for the entire time that Luger has been over in North America, over a year.
Welcome back to the LCS, where we're gearing up for CLG versus TSM, the oldest rivalry in the book. In fact, older, Jat, than the LCS itself.
Yeah.
Now, all that said, it doesn't feel like this rivalry has had the same kind of fire behind it in the last couple years than it did in its origins.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about it being before LCS. Going back to Season 1, the all-time record is 51 and 23 in TSM's favor. But after this trophy lift, pretty much, and then the one after that led to this spin from Afro going to MSI, there was a 721-day gap between CLG games defeating TSM. So TSM had a 721-day win streak against CLG. So they're 24-7 against CLG since 2017.
Whoa.
But I really do feel like since that 2016 summer by TSM, we haven't had a moment like this where we can all say yeah, CLG is better now.
Shoes on the other foot, or back on the other foot.
I think it's really important that we acknowledge this because we brought up so many times where it was I mean, TSM fans are even is it even a rivalry? We've beaten them so many times in a row. Dude, CLG is double the number of wins that TSM has right now.
Right, yeah. People tried to kill it, but it found a way to revive itself.
Yeah, there was that blink, I would say, in history for the LCS where, you know, PoE was on the team and they were finding some resurgence in success. Just a little bit. But it has never been to the level of TSM. And now CLG is finding that renewed glory.
Yeah, that's the history, right? But Emily, I want to talk about how we got to this very moment, as Jat says, where CLG can be considered pretty much definitively to be the better team and the favored team coming into the matchup. How did that even happen? How did CLG get here?
Well, they purged their entire organization.
Gotta start somewhere.
And a phoenix was reborn.
One thing I do want to give them credit for is sticking with this lineup outside of they felt like they had to make one change from spring to summer. But in terms of like sticking with the roster core, even with having maybe not the standing results that you'd want, I think that spoke to how much they believed in this team, believed in this unit. And then you'll see behind me, these are two of their drafts from last week, I believe. And it just showcases the different kinds of things that this team can play. And I mean, I do think Dhokla opens them up a lot more to obviously those carry picks in top. Palafox was on the desk with us last week, and he was joking about who decides to get the Yone this time. You know? So they can flex that between two lanes, and then also obviously they are the Seraphine team, right? They figured that out before a lot of teams. They can still use that kind of composition as we saw them last time. So I've really loved their draft flexibility and overall team flexibility.
On the side of TSM, still very much in the running for that postseason at 5 wins currently. If they can overcome CLG here, that'll do wonders for them in terms of locking a spot up. But CLG still looking to make that case for being one of our absolute top teams. While our team's ready up, Palafox pulls back the curtain on CLG's success in summer.
Going into this split, I think it's a bit interesting because in spring, we're just 4 newer players to the LCS, and then Contractz is a veteran, and we're all still learning how to play together, right? And compared to a lot of other teams, they have veterans or they stayed together. And I think in summer, we're really showing our cohesion, and how aggressive and how much we trust each other, right, in game. And I think it's just, obviously a beautiful thing to see when a team clicks. Yeah.
Couldn't have said it any better myself, Palafox. My name's Pastry, that's Mark, and we're gonna, I guess, try and do what CLG are doing as a team and give you all a beautiful, cohesive cast.
Growing.
Good luck,
as we get better. Yeah, I hope we get to see more of that. I'm really excited about this matchup. I know there was a time in spring where it was TSM versus CLG at 9th place, and it was kind of meme-ified a little bit back then, especially with the Reggie quotes. I'll never let us become like CLG. And then now CLG is 3rd in the league.
Yeah, okay.
It's pretty impressive. TSM is also rallying from that time period. They were 9th then. They've made the swap to Seoul. They've been picking up a couple more wins. They're looking better. So I'm actually really excited to see how this is for them now heading into playoffs and trying to grab that last little momentum. TSM is not locked in yet, but just looking at the bottom teams competition, almost all of them are playing teams in the top 6.
Yep.
And so there's a very high likelihood that TSM could go 0-3 this week and still make playoffs. Not that that's good for momentum, but they are more secure than you might think initially just looking at the score because of the actual strength of schedule for all the teams.
Yeah, we'll see, of course, obviously, any wins TSM can pick up will be good for them, and the same is true for CLG. Kind of for different reasons, right? They're on the opposite ends of berths into playoffs, but CLG could be very high up, actually. I think higher than most people would have given them in the preseason coming into summer. So very impressive.
Yeah, everyone. I don't think anyone but maybe Dhokla was saying top 3 for them, but they've been very impressive. We'll have to see what they end up going for. Their drafts have also been highly lauded as having a lot of flexibility. They've been passing around the Yone last week. Palafox talking about how someone gets it, they flip a coin. If Dhokla's got too many times in a row, he gets it for free. We'll have to see what they do.
Seraphine also banned, kind of on that point there, for TSM alongside Kalista. Zeri J for Renekton on the CLG side, and then Draven away from Luger.
A lot of bot lane bans and a lot of Luger bans. All 3 of those are actually kind of true. Luger, he's been doing so much better recently. He kind of was playing a role-playing position for them earlier on in the year, but has been stepping up more recently. He had a Draven game, I don't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but he absolutely popped off in that one. And then he'll go grab the Sivir. That was another one of his great games that you saw kind of in the packages beforehand.
Yeah, gonna be happy to pick up probably the most contested bot lane right now. Sivir is everywhere. CLG happy to snap that up first on blue. Azir though, I'm glad Corgi's, back in the back in the basement where he belongs. But Azir is a fixture currently, especially in hands of Maple.
The nice thing about it, though, is that because Corki's gone, you actually get more of the skill matchup into the Azir. So things like the LeBlanc are very heavily prioritized. We've seen Palafox play that recently as well. I would not be surprised to see him go back to that. Being able to get some side lane pressure. He loves roaming around, so very much in his wheelhouse. Poppy, no surprise. Yet again, Sivir Poppy.
Woo!
Just a Sivir comp.
Just a Sivir comp.
Ooh, the Yuumi. Gotta go fast.
Interesting that TSM wanted Wukong here instead of Poppy, but decent trade on either side. I don't think either jungler is too upset about how that's gone, but it is already Yuumi locked in.
But the bot lane situation is interesting with how many bans they threw down there. You kind of have to assume that CLG will be taking the Sivir first pick, and Zeri is often kind of the other scaling option. There's two kind of game plans in bot lane right now in the current meta. There's a lot of really lane dominant stuff like Kalista, Draven, and whatnot. Lucian, Nami, for example. And then you have the scaling options, which are more like the Sivir and Zeri. And with one of those banned out, as well as a lot of the lane dominant ones banned out, that's also some of the things that the Sivir would struggle the most into. So CLG's bot lane feeling pretty good right now. I wonder if TSM have a trick up their sleeve, given how many bans they threw in the bot lane. We'll see where they go from here, because their top side is complete, and they're going to be able to see most of CLG's draft when they start taking this bot lane.
Yeah, might lose some as well, though, I guess, to your point. So we'll see if CLG want to continue focusing in that area. Gwen banned away from Dhokla, trying to insulate Solo and his Ornn. We know Dhokla is no stranger to wanting to beat people up in the 1v1, and Ornn is the champion you can pick on. Certainly you should have pretty free reign of what you want to do.
Not to Solo, buddy.
That's true.
Solo's Ornn. It doesn't win 1v1 all the time, but they always gank for him, and there has been so much action around Solo's Ornn in the past couple of weeks. He does such a good job of figuring out the right timing windows to call junglers and mid laners up there. They get a lot of kills around him. He's been very good since he's come back into the LCS. Always feels like he's ready to just improve a team for a Worlds run.
Yep, and especially, on these kind of picks, right? Hey, pick me on. I'm okay. I'll play tank, I'll play engage. I know when to call my jungler. I know when to tell you to ban Talia, which is the other one there for TSM. And Lulu, predictably, another bottom lane ban here for CLG. Make it 5. Yep, Alistar out of there as well.
Interesting to see them target the support pool more than the AD pool. I thought one of those would be a Lucian to break up Lucian Nami potentially, but they go both for supports there. Alistar can be annoying for Sivir specifically because the spell shield, you stop the headbutt, Pulverize comes out right after, you're still knocked up. And Lulu just as one of the stronger enchanters in the bot lane that you often see picked and can harass and win a lot of lanes. So targeting those to protect the Sivir lane, make sure she has an easier time scaling to that late game.
And holding Chime's pick for last. Maybe has something, maybe just, they know they're going to take a scaling pick anyway. Jinx kind of the only one left, so Instinct will snap that up here.
Maybe they're also trying to see what the rest of CLG's comp ends up being, because right now it can be both a dive comp or a kite comp. You could easily see what the rest of CLG is here, and then maybe that influences your support pick. Do you want more peel to protect the Jinx? Do you want engage options if it's a kiting comp? And so very intelligent to hold the support pick, actually.
Ooh, Camille. The pick up there for topside in Dhokla, I have to assume. And of course, free reign for Pala in the mid lane up against the Azir. That would be a classic, my goodness!
No, Palafox.
Not the dark days.
I mean,
I've cost so many games of this matchup, by the way.
I mean, Azir Xerath is one of the staple counters for Azir. Xerath.
It makes me cranky.
Okay, good. There we go.
Much better, much better. It took me all the way back to LPL 2014. There's so too many. Anyway, move on.
Okay, so that matchup aside, for Palafox, him on a mobile champion makes a lot more sense, especially with a top lane carry in the Camille. This both matches, I think, what their game plan should be, both in terms of other champions locked in and the players piloting them. Really, a lot of staple picks here. Contractz' Poppy is insane.
Yes.
He's been all over the map recently.
He's the Lord of Hex Flash in many ways. Always finds the angles. But I like the aggressive pick there for Pala in mid. He will certainly be influencing wherever he goes, whether it's in the 1v1 or the 2 to 3vx, as I'm sure he'll want to pair up with his top side. And last pick was Rakan, excuse me, not Bard. I wanted it to be Bard.
Everyone,
instead.
Chime is Bard. So there's some of those players where you see their name and you say they're champion.
Yeah.
And he's becoming one of those. This time the Rakan, kind of a high combination of both, does give you a lot of engage options. Can also be used for peel. If the Camille jumps on your Jinx, you can focus her down instead. So a little bit of both there. Giving TSM very strong scaling. This is definitely, even though they do have the Sivir Yuumi, which is terrifying, is that enough late game against Ornn, Jinx, Azir? Probably not. So I think there will be some pressure on CLG in this game to step up, try and make some things happen. But they are one of the bloodiest teams in the league, so they are very comfortable having to do that.
I was going to say, the nice thing is this is a very CLG-centric draft. They've been extremely aggressive in the LCS have been a treat to watch as a result. They have some reliability, some insurance in the bottom side with Poome and Luger, but top side is going to try and punish as hard as they can in this early game.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, especially on the top half of the map. Bot side is no stranger to playing actually the weak side of the map for CLG, despite how we thought of this team in spring. A lot of times it is Luger and Poome playing more defensively, scaling up while Contractz is just trying to make things happen on the top side.
All right, well, their final bout of the regular season, at least, for this summer, Mike. Always a treat to have CLG and TSM. Funny how the turntables sometimes.
Yeah.
Over 12 years.
You can hear the fans going CLG.
Wait a minute!
I saw a ton of CLG shirts and merch and signs. Like, CLG has taken over the arena, whereas before, you would be hard-pressed to find a CLG chant louder than a TSM.
Yeah, I would go to different countries and hear TSM chants. So it's not
other esports.
Yeah, that's true.
Other continents where the TSM is not playing.
Correct.
See them trying to press in here. And it's really crazy how that, you know, just from the start of the year, that kind of 9th place battle where people were talking about, oh, I'd never let my team end up like CLG that Reggie was saying. And now it's like, well, actually, you kind of want to be like CLG. They're third place right now.
Feeling good so far. Minute, as you said, the little feint there from TSM. Poking in, see if they can maybe get something happening at level 1. Just going to get some vision down instead. Is a ward there already to spot that happening, but Contractz is going to be spotted on the Raptors.
Yep, and you saw on the top side of the map, CLG has dropped their own ward on the red, and no surprise to kind of see the different pathing set up here for Contractz, wanting to clear bot to top to try and get up to that top side and start influencing that matchup, where for Spica, you don't have any necessarily super proactive lanes that you need to play around, but the most exploitable is probably bot lane, given the lane matchups, and so that's where he's clearing down to. Very common starts. Also, probably don't want to take a 2v2 on the top side of the map. The LeBlanc will be moving a lot faster, so... Ooh, this is a new one. Split screen with junglers. Ooh. Usually it's laners. You know what? I'm sick of laners. We see so much of laners. Look at these clears. Isn't this intense? Whoa, he's got red buff. A little bit ahead of Spica here.
It's funny you say this because whenever I see this, I literally just look at mid lane anyway because that's the lane I'm interested in.
You were watching the jungler? Oh, I
didn't even notice it was the junglers until you said something.
All right, these are also not like the most mechanically intensive junglers. Like things like Talia or Lilia or like a Grave, some of the more ranged ones. You can see how,
is fun
like people who have to abuse it a little bit more, you can sometimes watch because I think junglers sometimes get a little lazy on optimizing their clears. So it is nice to put the camera on them, but now we're back on lanes. No surprise.
Yep, did see also Pala. I believe Trinket swapped early on. LeBlanc obviously very good at putting wards down early because she wants to take W at level 1 anyway for a lane. So I think Pala Trinket warded and got a sweeper. Did actually clear that ward out, I believe, that was next to the Raptor camp that Contractz was at. So not that much vision taken away, but did at least get a bit of golden XP.
Yep.
Very minimal amount.
Hey, you take those. Palafox is a really interesting person to talk about for me, and really CLG as a whole, but he's kind of a microcosm for it, where they're tied-ish for top 3 right now. TL1 earlier in the day. If CLG wins here, we'll tie them again. As we see, hold on. A little bit of action.
Spotted, oh, maybe a little late. Ignite already down. W up. Instinct going to be trapped. Contractz flashed on in. First blood. It's for Poome, but it's still going to count as Chime's going to get aggressed on as well. Forced back to the turret.
Such a heads-up play by Contractz there. He knows his Raptor pit was warded, and just like me, kind of autopiloting, oh, he's going to be clearing bot to top. He knows that's what TSM will be expecting, so he actually wraps around bot lane for the gank and finds first blood, the monster that Contractz has become in the back half of the year. Taken over yet another early game, finding first blood.
And it's so nice because Contractz has always been this player. He's just been pretty inconsistent. And this has been a much more consistent split from him.
Yeah, and this is actually perfect for what I was about to talk about, where CLG tied for top half of, third place basically right now.
Yep.
And Palafox had an interview where he talked about name value. Here we'll take a quick look at Contractz setting this one up. Just you can see that TSM think that they're going to be covered here and that there's no way a gank is coming through. And so just totally blind the fact that he's coming in behind them. Nice, easy setup. Get the flash early, and then just follow with your E. Actually, excuse him. Nice. Takes the E back on Rakan a little bit. But yeah, they were a team that, name value-wise, there's not a lot of power on this CLG lineup. Nope. There's not a lot of people who have a lot of history in the LCS except for Contractz, really. And so it's a team that a lot of people just don't have a lot of faith in the players. And when you look at their placement in the standings as well as their individual stats, they are, a number of them, pushing into what should be all-pro voting. Palafox, through the last 3 weeks of the LCS, is #1 in gold difference at 15, #3 in CSD. He's #1 in kills for mid laners. Like, he is having an absolutely incredible split, but you don't hear him talked about as a potential all-pro candidate. It's the same with Contractz. He leads the league in solo kills for the last 3 weeks of any position. As a jungler, that doesn't really happen. He has monstrous stats across the board. You see him taking over early games like this. And it's just so interesting to see this team that came up from nothing as a 9th place roster, made only one little change, and now they're making you question who's going to go to Worlds. And I think even beyond that, before you get that far, it's just like when your ballot comes to you this weekend, because we vote after the regular season, like, how are you going to vote for this? Because so many of these players, Contractz, Palafox, even Luger and Poome, top 3 in a number of categories, deserve that consideration.
Solo, by the way, you were not kidding about the solo Ornn.
It's a beast, dude. Don't sleep on Solo's Ornn.
Little pillar placement there. Could have undone Dhokla. Instead, Dhokla gets away, but is going to have to TP. Greeds for the wave, but no real threat here. We know Contractz is down the bottom half drift, and Dhokla, sorry, we know Spica is on the bottom half.
Yeah,
getting ganked by his own jungler, very different.
Seeing the recall, Dhokla feels a little safer sticking around, picking up that CS. Very good that he was able to grab that and not going to lose his TP for it right away. But yeah, I think for TSM, you know, Solo's been a huge stud for them in the top side of the map. And he had an interview, actually, with Pyrotechnics about how he thinks that there are a number of teams in playoffs that they can beat. He's kind of calling his shot early. One, that he thinks they're going to make playoffs. And two, should they get there, he said there's at least 4 teams. And you can guess CLG, FlyQuest, and some of the other ones about who he's kind of throwing these shots at. So this is a little bit of a preview if they do bump into each other in best of 5s.
Yeah. Solo definitely not short on confidence. I think we can safely say that. And so far, so good in his 1v1, 10 sets ahead of Dhokla. Bottom lane is where the problems are brewing potentially there for TSM. Already had that first great gank by Contractz. Now some more pressure being applied as Chime is trying to find the enemy jungle, but the vision's been cleared. The dive is a push. An instinct, you've got no flash and no hope to boot. Luger gonna grab the kill this time as Contractz. One more turret shot is enough to get the kill, and now Luger ate 1 as well. Have to reset, everyone back away slowly as Maple see it to cover.
You type worth in chat, though, if your Contractz taking the AD carry out right before a wave crashes on the turret. Maple does cover, so they can't continue that dive. But good play for CLG in the long run, up 600 gold now. Spica doing what he can, attacking on the weak side of the map. Dhokla is 6, so Spica's got to be a little careful.
Yeah, 1v2. There's the Ornn ulti. Might as well for Spica for some extra health. Good dodge. Dhokla now going to be caught in the cage with both, though. But he wants to go for this, perhaps here. Feeling confident here. Has Palafox roaming up, but is a little far away. Contractz also here as well. So Dhokla with a nice feint, but it wasn't a bluff. And TSM do respect it.
Mechanically, nice to watch. Strategically, maybe not worth it. You do end up losing most of the wave to the turret for Dhokla there. And the Gromp still went over to Spica. So looked cool, but not actually able to defend off the jungle or pick up the CS under the turret. Now falls 20
strike
behind.
value.
True, probably got some value out of first strike. You're right there.
All right, well, you know what? We'll check back in the CS in a moment or two. For now, into CLG with a very small FTX gold advantage, but not much to write home about.
I will say the first strike is a different rune than you typically see for this a lot of the time, as we see mischain there. Dhokla in a bit of trouble if Spica comes over the wall.
He's coming. Yeah, there he is. Spica going in. Ooh. Thank you, observers, but Dhokla barely buffering out of that one.
Yeah, being able to land the hook shot after the knockup happens, you have to time it so that your shot connects with the wall after you get knocked up. Otherwise, you'll get knocked up out of the movement part. Does that correctly there. Ends up safe. Very scary, but not too surprising. It's a tougher matchup when Ornn takes Grasp. Usually in the matchup, people used to take Grasp. Now there's more of a scaling option with First Strike that people have been taking more and more. So I think it actually got nerfed on 12-15 if I'm not mistaken. So people kind of know this rune is being used a little too much. So the gold will be less bad than it initially looks from the CS because of that choice.
Yep, some plates there though for Solo. However, CLG are looking to transfer some pressure here. It is off to the Rift Herald we go. Contractz and Palafox should be able to scoop this one up nice and easily. And of course, there are the updated, or I guess, updated power Drakes to take here, but looks like no team's moving towards it, so CLG might even get both if they fancy go down the bottom half of the Rift here with Luger. Feeling good there, Chime eating way too much damage, but not much return. And Palafox on the Maple lands the chain. Doesn't want to keep going.
Nope, just getting a little bit of poke there. CLG kind of advancing their win con as the gold lead has evened up after some of those plays in the top side. But with that Rift Herald taken now, we'll see if they want to drop that bot lane, kind of blow that open. Sivir is, it's always an interesting discussion about where you should use these Rift Heralds. Sivir is your best scaling option in theory, but you're probably not winning this game just through scaling team fights. And so if you want to drop that on Dhokla or Palafox, most likely to get your side lane 1-3-1 setup moving, because that does feel like the way that CLG is going to advance their game plan the best.
Yeah. Kind of talked about it in draft. They do have to open up this game kind of in the earlier stage, looking, 15 to 20 minute mark, really looking to make an impact there in the mid game. So funneling gold that way does make sense. For now, Contractz just finishing it clear, going to go back home and buy up. Not yet, actually, and maybe just picks a safer spot there. Going to pick a different brush and go home. As Maple feeling pretty good as far as scaling goes here for TSM. Palafox has had some opportunities to get out of lane, but has been pretty well contained by Maple. And of course, isn't expecting to win in CS 1v1, so Maple kind of coasting in the early game here in his matchup. Hasn't really had much pressure applied.
Yeah, has only really followed plays as well. There hasn't been a ton of action for the mid laners. You do see the disparity, though, where the 20 CS down for the Jinx versus the 20 CS down for Dhokla. I do think that the Camille will catch up eventually. First Strike does scale in terms of gold value. I think he only had 100 when I checked, so not a ton of gold yet, but once you start getting those true damage Qs, it becomes quite potent how much you're going to be getting.
Bit of extra mana there for Luger as the Q comes in for Rakan. Spell shields it there, but they do want to, again, keep the pressure going.
Health now happening. Remember, they changed it to health.
Oh.
Yeah, I missed the mana refund.
Come on, Sivir. Come on. It's okay. Everything's okay. Feeling good in the 2v2.
Yep.
Well,
here they come down. You can see them starting to set up the play. CLG is moving down. They're going to drop the Rift Herald and probably try to zone TSM off this turret. Or maybe just start the Dragon. There has not been any Dragons yet, despite the pressure CLG has had on the bot side. Not really viewing that as the way they win the game, even though they did buff Drakes quite a lot.
Yep, certainly did. As Contractz also still has that Herald, so maybe looking for a little greedier of a maneuver here, perhaps thinking we can get the Dragon after we make a play on the bottom side. But Spica is here covering this potential play. 3v3, you would assume it's feeling pretty good for CLG here on the bottom side. There's Contractz popping the Herald. Spica being very patient. That sweeper does find the enemy jungler though, and now they know where Chime is as well. Keeper's verdict, get out of here. Popping Spica back to base.
Yeah, both teams kind of covering each other's plays there. It was a cute idea by TSM to wait for CLG to overstep to try and finish the turret off, and then you get the flank angle from behind. Very nice idea, but CLG didn't overstep. They are a team that can get a little overzealous sometimes, and that was just good awareness, using the sweeper to spot them over the wall and then punting them out of there, make sure they get the charge off, get some more gold in their pocket. They'll be able to take this turret soon enough.
Well, speaking now, maybe on the Palafox. Palafox, they're very tricky to pin down. Not going to hit W again. Spica, though, going a bit further forward. Has flash. Almost back up. Not quite there. Had the ulti, but Palafox going to walk back to safety.
LeBlanc notoriously slippery, though, so I don't blame Spica for not overcommitting there. It has slowed down a fair amount from that initial first blood now. So for TSM, you don't feel too bad down only 1,000 gold as Solo.
We're at it again. Solo on, once again getting the damage down. Dhokla eating some damage, but the ulti not enough to finish the job. Dhokla clearly understanding the limits of the 1v1, as in the jungle, the mighty jungle, Palafox has found Spica. Oh, that charm coming in from the Rakan. Chime with a nice bit of timing. But Palafox looking to live here. Doesn't have ulti. There's the ulti out, but not going to matter out of Jinx because Spica scooped up the kill. And we're still going. Dhokla, get out of there, buddy.
Instinct with the 5-head ultimate, aiming for Palafox, but even if it missed, still hitting it onto Dhokla, forcing him out of top lane.
He's doing cardio today. He has run from the bottom of the rift all the way to the top. He has not seen his AD carry in years, Mark. As Dhokla still under threat here, under the tower. Contractz and Poome ready to cover though with Chime now on a ward. Still posturing aggressively in enemy territory. Gonna have to back away though.
Yeah, nice use of pressure though by Chime, making sure that you can get some vision down, try and clear out the enemy one, because for TSM, as I was just saying, this is actually largely going okay. You have the gold deficit, not too bad. You have multiple scaling options, even if Instinct is a little bit behind. Like you've said, Maple is on pace just fine right now. CLG has not blown the game open in any way, so you found this nice little pick off on the Palafox, relieve some of that pressure around mid lane, get some vision out. You know, now they have almost the entirety of the river warded. You can see multiple of their jungler entrances warded out. They don't need deep wards to like try and find where they can make the play by spotting Contractz way ahead of time. They just want to make sure that they know what CLG is doing and keep covering their plays.
Yeah, we can see Luger. I mean, he's working on the tower, but not going to be able to get all 5 plates. Maybe we'll still get the first initial bit of gold you get from taking turret number 1, but doesn't have enough vision, doesn't have enough confidence to go down here because he knows TSM's probably in the area.
I mean, this is just such good vision. Look, 3 pinks across the entire entrances so that they know that not only CLG has not come in here, but we know that CLG doesn't know where we are. And you can feel CLG being a little reserved, waiting till they actually get prio to move in as a 3-man unit here with Poome syncing up with Contractz, because there's just so much defensive vision out of TSM. And I don't talk a ton about vision, but it's often what I tunnel on when I'm watching the games. And where you're putting it to advance your game plan. If your game plan is scaling, I like these wards a lot to just make sure that you are neutralizing CLG. Sometimes you put in deep wards when you can't actually protect them, and they just get cleared out right away. So this is really heads-up warding by TSM, acknowledging they've been attacking our bot side a lot, and now we have a ton of vision to make sure we can see when they try and make their next move.
Yep, and it's definitely paid off here. Luger wasn't able to finish off the turret. Contractz and Poome sticking together here, but being a bit more careful. Spica has started the Drake. This Chime gonna bounce on back around, but Maple with first move, it looks like.
They also have teleport advantage. Solo was able to get that out of Dhokla from that positive trade, and so CLG want to stop this, but they won't be able to bring as many resources. They do have push on top side.
Oh, in we go. Might get 2 for 1 here. Spica with the ulti out, does take Contractz. Poome's gonna fall as well. Maple gonna get a kill for his trouble as TSM gonna get 2 plus the Drake.
TSM kind of calling the shot where Solo said there's a lot of playoff teams we feel like we can beat, and right now they're looking pretty good. A very heads-up play to start that Dragon with the teleport advantage. They didn't even need it. I'm sure Dhokla had that push on top side and was saying, don't worry, he can't teleport. I can interrupt if they try. And so Contractz steps a little too far forward. Palafox wasn't actually there to help, and now we get a face check.
Yeah, delivers the cat. Instinct has to flash. Luger. Nice little play there in the shrubbery. Is maybe going to get the tower off the back of this as well. So that would be more gold over to CLG as TSM have actually flipped that gold lead back in their favor. It's not a big one. And Instinct is going to come back to scoop up this wave without losing more, but not the early game we wanted from CLG. Certainly not the one they wanted, given what they drafted here.
No, I think it was a couple of right ideas that have just not gone as far in the direction as they wanted. They've clearly targeted bot side as where they wanted their pressure to go. I wasn't sure if they were going to go top lane or not, and with first strike, Camille, obviously not the play to play around. He's been on the back foot for the most part. And in this Rockhat flip the switch replay, you're going to see exactly how they actually turn this on the bot side, able to just get right on top of Contractz, drop a ton of damage and blow him up. Then they get Poome before he can reconnect onto Luger, force him out, grab the Dragon, 2 for 0. Like, this is a huge turnaround for TSM.
Yep. CLG at least will make the play on the top side, get the second Rift Tower for themselves. Well, we'll see what value they can extract out of it. It got them the lead they did have, basically, after getting the Herald and dropping it, but TSM have done such a good job just controlling what CLG have been trying to do, to your point about vision. Also, just the way they've approached this game to kind of lose the minimum or stay even. They have floated this early and mid-game very well, I would say, and that's setting them up beautifully for Instinct, Maple, and Solo to kind of take over when their team kicks into high gear.
Yeah, I mean, now they're getting some pressure down the top side as well. They're moving their resources around pretty well. I mean, you have the Jinx on the safe side of the map, and while it's not pretty in the CS deficit, for the most part, you've stemmed that bleeding, and now it's just about getting the gold when you can. You really have no pressure to really contest CLG on anything for the entire game except Baron, because there's no dragon stacking, Rift Heralds are gone, there's still a ton of outer turrets for you to grab. You don't actually have any down yet. And so for TSM, the game plan should be getting vision out, seeing where CLG is trying to put their resources, and then actually shifting away from that. You do want to defend things like mid lane outer. Of course, not saying totally just abdicate the area, but at least find your own gold.
Contractz again here. It's a 2v3. Palafox also roaming on in, but the counterplay from TSM is too good. Instinct takes out Contractz. Spica takes out Palafox, and TSM just keep tracking CLG down.
Oh my god, they see that coming over the wall. It's a nice idea by the two of them, but too many of TSM's resources were to help cut him off, and the nice ult by Maple shoves them off and keeps him alive long enough for Chime to come flying in.
TSM, honestly, they're the ones putting the counter in Counter Logic Gaming. They have done such a good job of basically baiting CLG into their tendencies, into the, they know they want to play aggressive and try and find plays. TSM has kind of been waiting, except for Solo, by the way, who's getting it all started by himself. Solo, baby! Solo's down, Dhokla!
Solo finds a solo kill, flashes the surrender flag. He's throwing all the shade at them. Really backing up his trash talk right now, and TSM now 2,000 gold in the lead. CLG are going to have to start trying to find some tricky angles here because the brute force strategy is not working.
Oh, I mean, it is for Solo, but everything else falling apart a little bit here in this mid-game, which is where we expected CLG to really find their footing. Game certainly not over. FTX gold advantage up now to 2K, as you said, which is respectable for TSM, especially given what we expect in terms of scaling. But CLG are very tenacious. We'll say that much.
They're a team that's going to go down swinging. And so if you're TSM, just because you have the gold lead, you can't start backing off and feeling safe.
Yuumi ulti, but Chime with the counter angle again! They just keep on finding it, scoop in there from Maple. Chime going to get the kill, and they'll make it too because the cat was attached.
TSM finding the bot lane of CLG, hanging out just a little too long into the turret, thinking the Yuumi will stop the push, but they finish off the turret. They get the 2 kills. A nice wraparound by Chime, who's been all over the map. Looking like a pretty cohesive unit right now.
I was gonna say, this TSM were a lot of fun to watch. We got the spicy solo in the top side. We got reserved Canadian Chime, but awfully good at finding angles and playing with this team. Spica feels like he's more at home alongside Maple, and Instinct, serviceable, right? You can't ask much of a player stepping on from Academy very late into a season, and TSM, as you've said, still in position to make playoffs, even if everything crumbles around them. And right now, that is not the story. TSM are very far ahead now.
Uh-oh, hit a pause. Groans from the crowd.
That's what happens. Can't let TSM get a lead.
Unfortunately,
gotta shut it down.
Sometimes people put in chat what the pause was. Some of the junglers like Santorin are very kind.
Yes.
Nothing from
Nothing
these.
yet?
Nope. Spica hates us, doesn't want to tell us what's wrong. I don't even know if TSM paused. Could be Contractz. Both of them. One of them hates us and doesn't want to.
One of the junglers.
Yeah, one of the junglers. It's the jungler duty.
Yeah, I was gonna say, your job is to navigate the early game with your team.
Navigate the broadcast.
And tell the broadcast why his pauses happen.
Yeah. So, like you were saying, though, TSM looking incredible. They have a bug investigation. Uh-oh. Well, I wonder what it is. There was nothing really happening right then. Is it going all the way back to the tower dive? It would be a while ago.
I don't know. We'll see.
Could be one of those bugs that's like long lasting. Like I can't auto attack. That is one that even if it's not happening in the middle of a fight, you do kind of need to dig into. We'll see if we get an update on it. But I like your point about TSM having a pretty well balanced team in the sense that there's actually a lot of leadership and veterans on the team. The entire top side of the map has over a decade of competitive experience. Spica is kind of that journeyman, kind of between rookie and veteran at this point. But the bot side of the map being put on weak side, focused on scaling, and the top side of the map being the solid part is actually a pretty solid way for this roster to function. And I do like how this draft kind of backs that up. And Chime is, for his credit, done a great job of actually working with that top side and making sure that he's not just sitting in lane and well, at least I'm not losing lane. He's done a really good job.
New rookie AD, new team. New top side to coordinate with. Chime definitely slotted in surprisingly quickly. I mean, I think that's true for this TSM roster in general, given how swiftly it was cobbled together. And our speaker on leadership has also spoken that, it's just it kind of becomes a default at some point. I feel like you hit a certain year mark and then the expectation changes for you as a player. But speaker has had to step up on this team. He's had to be more of a captain, had to be a louder voice. And I mean, when speaker's playing well, he takes over games. So wouldn't mind on-form speaker being the leader of my LCS team. I'll tell you that much.
No, definitely not. And I, for CLG, flipping it over to them, I feel bad. I feel like I cast a curse them. I was like setting up this little narrative about like, can they be in all-pro voting?
They can.
This is not the game to make a good ballot case. I think it's also a situation where because they're so young, we're talking about like name value versus not name value. They're a team that I think a lot of people are tepid about and believing in a sense, where it's like this pool, you're sticking one foot in, seeing if the water's nice. The CLG fans are already in. There's a lot of people in this arena who are clearly CLG fans. They've jumped in the pool, but
they've been in.
They've been in, but the broader community is like, yeah, you're looking pretty good. We respect it. You've definitely gotten better, but like, are you legitimately going to make a threat in the playoffs? And there's a lot of fans who clearly believe they are, but I don't know online if it's the same belief quite yet. A strong end to the regular season would have helped.
Certainly would, and going to be a fun Super Week for all the teams. Obviously, CLG looking to position themselves as best they can. Dhokla shaking his head. I think he can't believe he got solo boloed by a guy called Solo. Kind of feels bad.
You should believe it. You were almost getting solo killed many times before that. Finally got one on him.
I know you made the solo bounty hunter joke when he came back on in to the league.
Yeah.
Do you think he gets commission from the team when he gets solo kills?
No. I bumped into him behind the stage. He approved of the mullet jokes. I think at this point in civilization, if you have a mullet, you're doing it intentionally, ironically, for the most part.
I mean, it takes a while, right? Like, it's a pretty intentional.
You don't accidentally get a mullet.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. You just wake up and be like, oh, I guess that's my hair today. It's like this is a choice.
I also wonder if he had it while he wasn't on camera, because it's very funny, like coming back after not, being on an LCS team for a lot of the year. People haven't seen you in a minute and they see the mullet. But like, were you rocking the mullet off camera?
I mean, he posts quite a lot on social media. It's out there.
I'm sure I could figure this answer out very easily if I looked.
You could also
the mystery is fun though. The J.J. Abrams mystery box. I don't know. Maybe he did.
Maybe it's a mullet. Who knows? Could be anything. Could even be a boat. Still don't know what's happening. Again, when we have more info, we'll pass it on to you, but we have none yet. Spica and Contractz, I believe, are currently delegating responsibility of who's supposed to relay information to us.
No one's saying anything in chat either.
Unlucky.
Very serious game, kind of feels like, for both teams. We're kind of trolling a little bit up here, but it doesn't feel like the teams are approaching with the same levity. I mean, it's a very alive rivalry to this day still, despite that fact. All right, maybe not. Maybe I'm trolling.
Never mind, Dhokla's over it.
That's a terrible day to have eyes.
All right, I'm going to need that caption and this picture on social media instantly. Thank you, Mark, for teeing that one up. I mean, look, he's been around. He knows what to do on a pause. Lie back and vibe. Get the hand warmers. His hands are warming up. He didn't play for 20 minutes.
Or he's got to warm the eyes up. He's not seeing these Ornns coming at him. No, I think it's... Like we're saying, this is still very much a live rivalry. It's gotten me in for a little bit, like, oh, it's dead. And there was definitely a time where it felt really imbalanced, but with CLG kind of getting the better of them this year, at least. I think for TSM to at least end the regular season on a positive note of like, yeah, we got the last punch in though. Like, you're above us in the standings. They can't catch them in terms of record right now, but landing a haymaker before going into playoffs and then maybe bumping into each other in playoffs is very exciting to me.
Yes, that is really exciting. And I was going to say, despite the disparity in the standings and maybe in the season so far in summer, like the stakes are very real for both these teams, right? This game, I mean, most of your games in week 8 of the regular season are going to matter a lot in the LCS, but this one is definitely going to matter maybe for different reasons for these teams, but picking up wins and trying to position yourself in top 4 versus getting into playoffs for TSM, and maybe you can do a bit better if you win out.
Yeah, and I talked about how TSM could go 0-3 theoretically this week and still make playoffs. It gets a lot more certain if you win one of these games. They're already one game ahead of 8th place. They're in 7th. And there's a number of people who they have 1-1 records against everyone below them in the standings at least. So if they end up tied versus anyone, they are guaranteed tiebreakers basically. And so teams would have to win 2 more games than them this weekend to pass them in the ranking. So if you win a single game, that means other people, multiple other people, have to go 3-0 to stop you from even getting a tiebreaker. So basically for TSM, winning this game almost guarantees playoffs. It's not a lock. It's one of those weekends where everything kind of depends on everything else. It's really fun, so you can't make any certain statements. But yeah, this is looking pretty good.
Spica has also employed the lie back and relax strategy, although he doesn't have the hand warmer tech. Maybe Dhokla should share that one in chat. I did see, look, I am not pointing fingers at anyone, but I did see Luger talking initially to someone on stage when we started. Now, I am not saying it's Luger's fault. That's fine. But what I am saying is there has been a historical, not trend because that implies it's happened a lot, but AD carries and bugs on the LCS stage, we've been here before.
We have been here before.
It's not been the same since Bugcatcher Sneaky left us.
Yes. So I got an update while you were talking. I'm sorry I did not listen to you. I cannot bounce off what you said, but I did hear that Luger was thinking that there might have been a bug with the Azir ult on that dive, pushing him in when he spell shielded it. Turns out that was not the case. It was not a bug. It got procced.
It's a feature.
It got procced by something else earlier on.
Yep.
Some kind of a spell hit it, and that's why he got knocked in. As you can see, we are back live.
We're back. Let's go! All right, we've reset. Spell shield's still working as intended. Good to know. The Spica is going to go ahead and start this dragon up here for TSM. Pretty good one to get as well. The old Infernal, as Contractz is dropping the Herald top. They are just going to have to trade.
Okay, so I hope TSM can maintain their focus during that pause. It was a pretty long one, and you can see people starting to relax, shutting eyes. And while TSM is in a very good spot, they have a scaling advantage, they have a big gold lead right now, you don't want to fall prey to CLG finding you kind of asleep at the wheel because they have so many tools for jumping on someone if they're out of position. There is still a huge threat of just someone getting caught out, instantly blown up with the CC and gap closing that a Sivir LeBlanc sped up kind of comp can do.
Yep. Shelly with the right hook, by the way, takes out the tower there to CLG. So Luke getting some gold back, cutting that gold lead down to something a little bit more manageable. As Solo continues his aggression in the other side of the map up against Dhokla. I'm sure we'll see a lot of that throughout this contract. So with a very sneaky little play, setting it up and knocking it down, it's Pala with the shutdown on Chime.
And there you go. I was talking about CLG's comp has a lot of pick-off potential. If you walk into this jungle, stunned up, instantly killed, only onto Chime, not the most important member, despite Chime, being 2-1-6 now. Very respectable amount of kills on the Rakan. It does give them an opportunity now to start putting some more wars down, get some vision back on their side, but TSM That mistake is not going to end the game. They're still in a strong position, but you got to start cleaning up that play a little bit, working between Spica and Chime at the same time, making sure that Rakan probably should not be the first one in.
Probably not. I have noticed the trend of people that walk into Fog of War are the ones getting killed. Not that surprising, I suppose.
Very astute observation, Pastry.
That's what almost a decade of casting League of Legends has done for me.
I can't wait to see your published findings of other things you've noticed. These trends, these correlations.
All right, well, it looks like Poome's been permanently attached to Contractz for a while. Going to detach now, walk on over back to Luger. He started originally. Obviously, we are going to have a slight lull here for the next 3 minutes or so as TSM have their eyes on Soul Point. But I imagine teams aren't going to want to let
round
that one
two
go. Don't walk into it's Poppy's always there.
No, they did it right this time. Spica went in first.
Nice. Chime's like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, let me show you something. It was almost a sequel to that movie, but they played this one right.
Let me show you something. Oh, Spica actually looking for the seal. Doesn't get to get it.
Uh-oh.
Going in a little aggressive. Battle Song pop. Chime's like, gotta get you some movement speed over the wall. Get out of there.
Still the strong side of the map for TSM. You see Dhokla on the bot side, so nicely played by CLG to stuff Spica and get a good chunk back on them, kind of force them out of their side of the jungle. Can't force the fight without Dhokla TPing in, so they're just happy to play a little bit of defense and buy Dhokla some time to scale up. He did fall massively behind. I was giving a copium take about like, don't worry about the CS lead, you have first strike. He was like 1,000 gold behind the last time I checked a minute or two ago, so does need time to scale up so you actually become a bit of a threat because he has fallen behind the pace of the game a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Find Thunder done. Oh, there's the Hydra done as well, but gonna want more. Obviously, Dhokla will be pulling for the side lane, especially with these first two items here. And eventually he will overpower the Ornn. But Solo's had a great time here on his trusty tank in the top lane as TSM continue to defend the mid turret. 2 minutes until that dragon is up and available. And TSM continue to play nice and steadily here.
Yeah, Mountain Dragon is very good for their composition. You have insane DPS and front-to-back team fighting, so your biggest threat is flanks and getting exploded against things like LeBlanc. So Mountain Dragon, very important for CLG to deny. Even just a single one starts to be a little bit more obnoxious now with all the buffs that came in on 12-14. There are a number of people building some resist, not a ton. Solo will obviously get insanely tanky. Chime's picking up a couple items, working on his Zonias, looks like.
Fancy one, I like it. Obviously knows that he is one of the people first in to many fights. So wants a little bit of personal, bit of selfish safety, let's say. TP on in, Contractz gonna get aggressive on. It's Maple that's scooping on down. And once again, it's gonna be a 2-for-1 special markers. That's Contractz dead, and Poome swiftly to follow there at the hands of Maple.
Yeah, now 24 minutes in, no smite available for CLG. TSM instantly start moving up the river. CLG will have to find a big 3-man contest somehow, otherwise this game is over.
Dhokla also roaming up, kind of shadowing Solo there. He's going to get the ulti down. Luger maybe can get on in for some damage. Pops the ulti. They want this kill, but Solo's going to be fine. Flashes over. The tower dive is not possible. And CLG still have to contend with this Baron.
Does force Solo out. He has TP, so if there's a ward, there's none in the pit right now. There's one in the jungle actually that he can come back on.
Oh, Palafox no ulti, but can he find the poke he needs? Taking a little bit too much damage. They're going on in for it. They're diving on through. Insecto taking out Dhokla, and TSM have just stood and delivered at the Baron. They'll take the kill. They'll take the buff. TSM riding on to victory at this point.
Almost a 5,000 gold lead for TSM after that play. Just 25 minutes in, they're looking good for picking up their 6th win of the split, climbing closer to that 500 mark.
So far, so good. We'll see how much damage they can get done with this Baron, but CLG just not enough resources there to contend for that Baron. You kind of have to make the play. It's not the one you want to make, but it's the one you had.
It was a decent idea if Dhokla and Luger could combine together to kill Solo. That's one of the big frontline members down. Then you can focus in a 3v4 at Baron that maybe if it gets sloppy, you can stop them. I did like the idea, just too far behind, not enough damage to finish him off. This also means that TSM grabs this dragon very easily. And now they are so far ahead, it feels borderline unlosable. That is an attempted caster curse because I still need TSM to finish 7th. So that Spica is not right about me losing my job.
That's true. It keeps happening to you.
I thought I was in the clear, but now they're like, you know, FlyQuest winning does help me a little bit. You know, that was big for avoiding losing my job. But yeah, TSM making me sweat a little bit.
All right, well, certainly the same for CLG here as TSM racking on the gold up with the Red Bull Baron buff. Contractz in trouble. Pops the W, walks away because TSM are about to bust through the bottom side of the rift. Dhokla with the flank angle, but what's he really flanking? Solo is just such a good frontliner here.
Yeah, Maple also marking that flank. It's so hard for CLG to find an angle when it's a grouped up ball like this. They're extremely short range. As you see, Palafox is kind of the only one who can go in and pop back out. Everyone else, when they're in the scrap, they're going to stay in there. So very hard to defend a siege by TSM here.
Good little slow there on the Palafox, making sure LeBlanc couldn't dive back in, and TSM just smashed through the bottom half of the map here. CLG going to lose that inhib. Gold's going to keep on going up for TSM.
Here you see Dhokla breaking away to go for objective bounties instead. Probably the right call in the end. Going to get some gold back for himself and his team. Grabbing that one. Objective bounties still active. After that, see if they can get some more, because otherwise TSM is so far ahead. There's still a chance, in theory, with LeBlanc Camille locking down Maple or Instinct right at the start of the fight, and then having the Sivir carry. You know, they do still have that combo. I don't want to make it sound like they're 100% out of the game, but it's very hard to find those sorts of angles when you're behind, because you can't come in unseen and kind of get that insta-gib.
Yeah. Don't want to face check TSM. Unfortunately, that's going to be what will happen in 3 minutes or so, if we even get there. Palafox with a big combo onto Instinct, but not enough to get the kill here as ultis keep on ripping out, but this one is blocked. Baron's wearing off, and TSM are going to back away. Maybe look to take a staggered reset here, and they know their goal is to get this Mountain Soul. Not much else they have to play for. Nice and steady right now for TSM.
Yeah, they're more than happy to let Super Creeps get pressure in the bot side of the map and just kind of sit between mid and top, controlling this side. Like you said, Mountain Soul, what the main objective is. Actually, they're going to go for a fight.
Very nice fight in the choke here. Contractz caught out again. Chime finds the engage. Maple executes Poppy with the Emperor's Divide, and now Palafox has to get out of there, eating too much damage out of Instinct and Chime. Solo in the front line, taking a lot of punishment, but not down just yet. Dhokla committing to the kill. 1v4, flashes out to safety. Spica low as well. Luger also in trouble, but the ulti pop by Poome to keep TSM at bay.
Yeah, 2 members of TSM low, but able to get out alive. They finish off Contractz. Just the 1 kill, some nice footwork by Palafox. And then the fact that Luger and Dhokla got everyone else low enough that they couldn't actually chase onto Palafox allowed him to get the reset off. You can see the potential of CLG's comp if things go well. Still a little bit, even in late game. So I think that's a good moment for TSM there to make sure that their fights are clean when they engage them. They did find that kill, and like you said, the Mountain Soul is the main objective up in 2 minutes. I still like the aggressiveness, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like when teams are like, oh, our next major objective is in 2 minutes. If you think someone's out of position, kill them. So I'm more than happy to see TSM try to take that fight.
Yeah, we'll check in a minute 40. Have a look at the flashes. Not there just yet, though. Dhokla certainly not going to have his. Have to try to make that play and have to make the great escape via Solo, using his ulti. Contractz at least gonna get his Gromp. The blue buff, though, maybe forfeit here to Spica, who's 5-0-5, by the way. Palafox really wants the blue buff, but Spica's gonna say no.
Yeah, I think Spica had a good game. Avoiding the early pressure by CLG and trading for things like that Gromp and kind of only defending when necessary, and allowed himself to get nice amount of farm advantage over Contractz and then convert that into plays when those opportunities arose. He's done a good job playing goaltender for the early part of the game, and now he's been hungry looking for angles to blow people up.
No, it's just no use there. Palafox can't even defend his LeBlanc. Instinct actually on a killing spree, picks up one there. There's the counterplay though as Maple finds the ult flash to escape.
Maple with the nice ult flash combo, making sure Palafox is the only mid laner dropping, and TSM still have pressure on this top side. I mean, if CLG does not answer, they could get their second inhib right here.
Contractz no ulti. CLG gonna have to play this 3v3. TP back down though. Contractz going in onto Spica, but Spica just presses the ulti button and he's gonna spin around. CLG flashes in, gets a double knockup, dies on the back end to Luger, but Luger taken too low to defend here as Dhokla's back, but TSM get what they came for. They're taking out the second inhib off of CLG.
Playing aggressive, I like it. Spica flashes in, doesn't find the kill, maybe could have flashed out, but saying, if I get this kill, the game probably ends. And I do like that mindset. I think when teams who have a scaling advantage get ahead, they start looking for, they're like, oh, well, we can't throw if we just play safe and slow, and so they only start taking guaranteed
Oh, you
fights.
can throw.
But you can throw. And if you start giving up fights that are 80-20 to take fights that are 90-10, the standard distribution of plays that are 90-10 is actually not that many, and it gives the enemy opportunities to find plays for themselves, 50-50s, Baron flips, whatnot. So if you see the opportunity to punish them, just go ahead and take it.
Neither jungler is currently in the area for this dragon. Spica's coming back off the fountain. Contractz is doing the legwork to try and get there. CLG will be... Oh, no!
Oh my god!
I saw it in slow motion. Instinct's W. Channeling the power of Sneaky, stealing away the soul.
Instinct W snipes the House of the Dragon Soul right there. Dreams away from CLG. Any chance of stalling this game out just fell apart. Neither team's jungler there to do anything about it. Nice job by Solo getting a little bit of an interrupt to make it dicey for Luger to stick around just hitting the dragon. I think that was one of the things that helped them get it. Now they're moving up to the Baron as well. Both major objectives claimed for the final push.
Just yeeted them off the rift. There for TSM. What do we say to the Dragon Soul today, Mark? For CLG?
Not today?
Not today. I mean, this is what happens when the jungler's not in the area. Instinct's just like, oh yeah?
I was trying to remember the Game of Thrones quote when you said it. I was like, wait, is it not?
It is not today.
Yeah. I
For
got
TSM, though, they're ready.
They were ready.
Ready to win this game by the looks of things.
Yeah, they're pushing aggressively. They have the open bot inhib, but they're staying 5-man strong right in front of this last inhib turret.
Yeah, just doing it academically. Back in my day, we called this the tutorial win, and TSM gonna take everything off of CLG. Both dogs been around an awfully long time, but it's TSM today that are looking like the victors. CLG, despite all their success, can't get away from El Clasico as TSM even retake the bottom inhib. Maple's just been casually tanking the tower, wanting to get this game over and done with. Must have a dinner reservation.
Oh. Forcing CLG back, not quite able to end the game. All 5 still alive. CLG are gonna have to look for an opportunity to go here because TSM are more than happy to sit on their double super creeps.
Yeah, Contractz has to go, but he doesn't have much hope of this play working. Still have to try and make it work. Luger actually took out Spica. CLG may have found something. Palafox took out Instinct, and CLG are keeping themselves in this game.
CLG 4-for-1. Dhokla drops, but they get everyone but Chime to stop this push. It is double super creeps. It's 30, 40-second death timers. Probably not enough time to get anything serious, but maybe can grab some turrets, get some more gold back in their pockets, get these objective bounties claimed. There are some wards in the base, but no one with TP resing for another 30 seconds. There is a turret still up as well, but I think I saw it was pretty low, so I think backdoor potential is there. I don't know if that's the play TSM want to go for, because in theory this should be okay. Just a lot of members were low, and a nice brute force there, getting on to Instinct, forcing that stopwatch while also fighting up on the top side of the map. Spica finished off. The split fight working pretty well for CLG there, focusing on down different members at the same time.
Nice enough for CLG, really the last chance they had to make a stand, and they keep their game and their Nexus alive. Gold lead's been cut significantly down as well, by the way, and Baron is basically going to wear... In fact, it does wear off because four people lost it, but apart from that, even with the timer ticking, TSM aren't going to have time to go back in, so perhaps they'll play for Elder, MarkZ.
Perhaps.
Or TSM go back in and end the game. That's what they want to happen.
I think you can see them as their 5-man charging down mid lane are of the right mindset of, let's not flip an Elder in 2.5 minutes. Let's get aggressive and sit on them with double super creeps again, and just now that our ultimates are all back available, they were lacking quite a few in that engage, so I don't think Chime had his charm to stop the shorter range champions, but it is one of the main defensive tools that they have is when Dhokla goes in or Contractz or Palafox, you can kind of charm them up. So should be an easier time to siege now, but sometimes you get in these situations where you just get overzealous trying to end the game. You can see how quickly Sivir clears the waves with Ricochet.
It is 5-item Sivir, by the way. Luger is ready to go. Everything done. Everything plus the boots all lined up here. Ulti out of Solo. Love the coverage here for TSM, but Contractz, he zips on out of there. Chime still trying to find a Contractz, flashing away. TSM diving in to try and end the game, but they need to kill Luger. Sivir still alive, but the turret's now dead. The Nexus exposed. Contractz slow as well, and TSM straight through the front door. Take out CLG.
TSM get the last word in on the regular season, taking them down, going to 6-10, nearly guaranteeing 7th place for themselves and playoffs. It's not a lock yet, but in a great position for the rest of the weekend.
I feel like we started the top of the game talking about Solo's Ornn, and he certainly delivered. Even that last play is like, just throw the Ornn at it. They can't kill us before we kill the Nexus.
He did it at a perfect time too, because Contractz was charging the Poppy ult. He lets it time out for the refund, and that's instantly when you see the ultimate from Solo saying, their main disengage tool's down, I'm gonna go now. And you said they had to kill Luger, but they didn't.
Yes,
they only needed to kill the Nexus. Smart idea there, not tunneling on kills, grabbing that win while they can. very good team play out at TSM, taking the scaling comp and doing a really good job of just surviving through CLG's very impressive early game this split. It's worth noting that this was the bloodiest early game team in the league that they took a scaling comp into and survived.
Yeah, great defensive vision, as you said. Great awareness, even though Contractz still there. Navigating those early pathing, getting that first blood, getting off the races for CLG. TSM just had it covered. Looking solid as CLG, a loss they did not want to pick up here. Almost assuredly, they'll be in playoffs, but it's always a matter of where.
It's much more of a this feels bad loss than a problem heading into playoffs, in the sense that they were almost locked to be between 3rd and 6th, and that's just choosing matchups in the first round and kind of what your seed is throughout playoffs. But more or less, you're going to be starting in the same spot no matter what. So if this does drop them down to 4th place where they are now, considering that Team Liquid won earlier in the day, 4th, 1st, 3rd is just, well, I play 5 instead of 6. And that can be a big deal if you think there's a difference between what looks like right now Cloud9 and FlyQuest. It can matter, but I think for teams with Worlds aspirations, which it sounds like CLG has based off things like Dhokla has said, like you need to be good enough to earn your way there. You're not going to get there because you finish 1 seed higher or lower.
Yeah, makes sense there. After the break, Chime is going to be joining us State Farm Analyst Desk, so don't go too far away. We'll see you there. Contractz again, here's the 2v3. Palafox also roaming on in, but the counterplay from TSM is too good. Instinct takes out Contractz. Spica takes out Palafox. Yuumi ulti, but Chime with the counter angle again. They just keep on finding it, scooping there from Maple. Chime gonna get the kill, and they'll make it too because the cat was attached. Taking a little bit too much damage. They're going on in for it. They're diving on through. Instinct so taking out Dhokla, and TSM have just stood and delivered at the Baron. They'll take the kill. They'll take the buff. TSM riding on to victory.
What you playing?
A very serious game, but these in-game purchases are adding up.
Oh, State Farm has rates to fit your budget?
Mega Sparkle!
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.